Hello and welcome to Rogue Artisans and Crafters, two-time winner of the Southern Oregon Television Awards for Best Arts and Culture Show. I'm your host, Glamour Dave Nienow. We welcome you, our viewer, to our new season of 2019 shows where we feature local artists and craftspeople here in Southern Oregon. And we talk to our featured artists about how they came to their art, what drives them as artists, find out stories behind their art process, and how their work as artists influences their lives. Today, we explore the art of photography, and we have the privilege of featuring local fine art photographer, Bee Bantug. I discovered Bee Bantug while attending an event at the Art de Jour Gallery in Medford, where Bee has her work on display. Bee creates unique painterly style images in her photography, and so today I am pleased to talk to Bee about her life as an artist and the work that she pursues today with her art. And so we welcome Bee to the show.
Well, I'm very glad to be here, and I thank you so much for the opportunity to share it with you and with the local Rogue Valley region.
Yeah.
I've not really been to see your shows before, so it's really wonderful to have this opportunity.
Yeah, well, I very much appreciate you coming on because when I discovered you at Art de Jour Gallery a while back, it was just after you had just become a member there, as I recall. And you've got a really unique style to your work. I mean, and when I looked at your website, you describe yourself as a conceptual photographer, and I look at your images, and they're like abstract images. They're very kind of have a painterly feel to them, but yet they're photographs. And I think it's really exciting to see, that kind of style of photography interpretation of the scenes that you shoot. And so I really wanted to have you come on and be able to kind of talk about your process and how you fulfill this vision of yours and create these images. So I think it's really exciting what you're doing.
Well, I think you've really hit it in the nail, so to speak, because while I tend to say that I'm a photographic artist as opposed to a photographer, because I see clearly that there is a difference between what I do and the conventions of what people know as photography.
Exactly right, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm coming from kind of very much of an abstract expressionist.
Yeah.
That's my point of view, and that's my aesthetics. So when I do my work, I'm not really interested in realism, and it simply happens that instead of a paintbrush, I use the camera as a tool. And pretty much what is key to my work is how I interpret light and how I follow light. And so once I have that light concept, I don't do an object-oriented work. It's pretty much within a time and space.
Right.
And when I start my work, I go past the objects in front of me. I tend to want to go beyond it. And so a lot of things are going on. There's what I found to be a quantum reality that I never had a notion about before. I mean, I know it intellectually, but I have no experience of quantum reality. But the way I use my camera, where it's not the macro view of things, but rather I move in and then I let my inner vision take over. So there's no structure when I work. There's no concept in what I really want to achieve. I co-create with the moment, and I co-create with light. So does that help you in a way?
Well, maybe a little bit. It'd probably be a different experience to actually be with you on location and kind of see your approach, how you're seeing the scenes.
Right.
We do have a small short video that you had done for an international art exhibition fair that your work appeared in last year in London.
Right. That was for the Art Room's London exhibition.
Yes.
And I was one of 5 North American artists that were chosen to
Wow.
participate.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
they have to have a video
Yeah.
of you in place. I
Yeah.
said, sure, great, I
Yeah.
could do that for
Yeah.
you.
Okay. So we've got that short video. So if the control room can bring that up, that's a couple of minutes long, and then we'll come back and continue to talk to Bee about her work.
And I'll try to elaborate on
Okay.
I have always lived in big, bustling metropolitan cities, like Manila, where I was born, Tokyo, Amsterdam, and New York City, where I moved to in the 80s. Architectural gems, the many colors, textures, and forms of art of all kinds, a constant wonder, easily accessible. Yet regularly, I'd get away for breaths of open country air, needing to slow down and listen to the silence within. 5 years ago, an unusual opportunity took me to Oregon, where mountains range as far as my eyes could see. Rivers, lakes, streams so crystal clear. Ancient giant redwoods stand guard against the wide open Pacific Ocean. My name is Bee Bantug, and for the past 4 years, all this is my studio, the matrix and inspiration for my creative impulse. Here, at Moments of Art Creation, I am confronted all at once by both questions and answers about life's noble mysteries. Using my camera as brush, I literally paint abstract images, aiming to penetrate beyond surface realities. I like to push and blur the edges between photography and painting. Without filters added in the darkroom or computer, each image is complete, a vision fulfilled. And somehow, at that very moment of creation, new thresholds are crossed, unveiling interdimensional forces at play. Come to Art Rooms Fair 2018 in London to see some of my recent artwork up close and personal. Or preview my website, lightexpressionist.com. Thanks so much for watching.
All righty, so we're back. And we're back with artist Bee Bantug, and we're talking about her unique style of photography. And so, Bee, how long have you been doing this photography? What brought you into doing this work?
A very good question. I've been taking photographs since I was a child. My dad and my mom are very creative, very artistic. So I used to grab my dad's brownie and then his Leica until we kind of get a tag who's using when. So I'm really self-taught. My consciousness of art and everything that goes into what I do. When you ask about it, it makes me think that it's more than just a given time. It's really a continuum of a life experience. And because my work is very intuitive, I tend to think that what comes into my images are a collaboration between what I see and what comes across at that given time space.
Right.
And when I said something about quantum reality, I had learned from looking into it that reality, if you think about it, is made real when you observe it.
Right.
Matter, atoms are not permanent, but they are just potentialities. They become when you observe it. So in my work, this is of about 4 or 5 years old only, because prior to coming to Oregon, I used to live in big cities.
Right.
And so my exposure there is angular, rough, gritty.
Yeah.
And then there's this part of me that's very, very much connected with nature. And so when I used to live in big cities, I would love always going out of town And that's when I get exposed to water, to trees, which I am very much relating to in
Yeah.
a very conscious level. I come to Oregon and it's all over me. It's
That's right,
all
yeah.
around
Yeah,
me.
you
So
can't
like
avoid it.
everything
Yeah.
is talking to me
Yeah.
all at once. So one day I was in Latgawa, which is a little pond of an ancient Indian Native American back here, not too far from Lake of the Woods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's on the west side of Lake of the Woods, behind the McLaughlin
Yeah.
mountain, right?
Yeah.
Mount McLaughlin. So then I was there and I was taking my usual images for just the place. But I love running water, and so I started to take these pictures. About 2 days later, I started looking at my images, and I found that they are talking to me in a different way.
Yeah.
It's not just the macro view of the place, but then I began to see things that are in the water.
Yeah.
So from that time on, I became very conscious that there must be a reality that exists that we are not conscious of on a day-by-day basis because we're so used to physical reality, right?
Right, yeah.
So, but when you kind of slow down and you pay some close attention to and relate with nature, or just slow down and give time to just being, then other existence, like energy levels,
Yeah, that's
come
very
into
true.
play.
I mean, we go through life at a certain pace in everyday existence, and a lot of what is around us kind of is ignored by our senses because we're focused directly what's in front of us and we're moving
Exactly.
forward, right?
Yes, exactly.
And it isn't until you slow down to focus on what is totally around you that you begin to notice things that you ignored before.
Right.
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 And artists in general, they no matter what their medium is, they take those moments to slow down and kind of capture some scene that is otherwise ignored by the average person.
Right.
And so you're doing what all artists do in some way, but you're taking a very unique approach with your tool of the camera,
Right.
and you're generating some really unique, beautiful images.
Yeah, the difference between, to me, is also one of the remarkable things that happen is that they're one of a kind.
Yes.
I could not repeat
No,
them.
you couldn't. No, no. If you're,
It's really, really a treasure of that moment in time.
yeah. I mean, because you're capturing literally a microsecond of a moment.
Of a moment.
If you're capturing a scene at a river, the river flow is a constant changing motion. Every second of its flow.
Yes, exactly.
And every moment's totally different, and you're just capturing just that smallest moment of time.
Right. And the beauty of that moment, too, is that it's, for that moment, it's so crystal clear, right?
Yes.
So once I made that image, I don't do anything about it. I don't digitally touch it. I don't manipulate it.
Yeah.
I leave it the way I've seen and did it for that moment. So it's different from how someone had told me that, you could work with your art and bring some objects into it and make it something different.
Yeah.
And to me, it's anathema
Well,
for my work. Anyways, I don't think I would like to do that.
well, that's something that as photographers, we all, with the modern age of digital photography being what it is, and with all the various tools that are afforded to photographers to manipulate the reality of what you initially capture.
Right.
Right. We all have to decide for ourselves to what extent you want to manipulate the reality that you're capturing,
Right.
or not to do any manipulation, right?
Yes.
And in the past, where I've worked as a glamour fashion photographer, that is pretty much all about manipulation. You know,
Yes.
you never, the top fashion photographers in the world try to capture the image, to get to like 80-90% of what they have planned out, but there's still manipulation.
Oh, yeah.
If an image is going on the cover of a fashion magazine,
Oh,
there's
clearly, the
there's
airbrushing.
there's still going to be manipulation,
Yeah.
right? So, it's a matter that I think that what you're doing is really cool, and that you're really truly capturing a true moment of reality without any manipulation ever. And that was something in my mind. Is there
Yeah.
manipulation here? Because
Right.
it's so unique what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't even add any filter at all,
Yeah.
nor do I airbrush anything. And that's why it's kind of very, very critical how you work with the camera at the beginning. So when you're in a space, you kind of want to read the general ambient light and get an idea what's
Yeah.
going on. So you do that setting,
Yeah.
and then after that, you leave everything to how I could work within a short, view of what I'm doing, and go with it and run with it.
Well, we have a small slideshow, some more examples of your work, and we got about 10 minutes left in the show. So if the control room can bring up some of those slideshow images, and we'll kind of do a little discussion review of some of these images. And I've got notes here for the titles for all these. So this is the first one, and this is Wildflowers the Rogue.
Wild Flows the Rogue.
Yeah, Wild Flows the Rogue, yeah.
Yes. I like to hike, and whenever I hike, I tend to always go into the water. This is one moment at a time of the afternoon, and I just, I am looking at water, I'm seeing things in water, and I said, I gotta see what else I could find in there.
Yeah.
So this is one of the pictures, actually, one of the images that they featured in London.
Okay.
They thought it was a pretty different. They couldn't tell whether it's watercolor, is it oil?
Yeah, right, yeah,
It is a
yeah.
photograph.
Yeah. So let's go on to the next one.
Yeah.
This
You
is
have that?
etched in quantum time.
Yeah, etch in quantum time. That's how I felt about it. It was in the afternoon in the Rogue River.
Yeah, okay.
So it's again an abstraction of that given time.
Okay. Oh, you need to adjust your hair right over the microphone. So, yeah, okay. So let's go on to the next one. This is If the Earth Could Speak.
Yes, I thought that's an appropriate title where everything about this river was talking to me. It's the Illinois.
Okay.
And I could not imagine that there is so much energy and life
Yeah.
in this body of water.
Yeah.
And it's just such that if you look at it closer or suddenly you look into it, for me, I see a lot of things going on, like faces, not only color and shapes, but literally entities,
Yeah.
energies.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next. This is Jackson in the River.
Yeah, it's a reference and a tribute to Jackson Pollock.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
So he drills color, especially
right, yeah.
black. And I said, well, I could let light drill on this work. And so it's a reference to him. It's also of the Illinois
Yeah.
River.
Okay. All right. Let's go on to the next. Yeah, this is Wrinkle in Time.
Yes, this is another time and another body of water in Oregon. It's the Taylor Creek.
Okay.
And I thought it was so lyrical to see that soft, gentle movement in water. I didn't know that it will give me all the things that I see, which are shades of light and shades of color,
Yeah.
but especially how it gently wrinkles,
Yeah.
like a wrinkle in time.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go on to the next. And this is liquid serpentine.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's the same afternoon
Yeah.
and the same creek,
Yeah.
Taylor Creek,
Yeah.
but a different section of it. And this time I saw it as a really wild and energetic, furious energy coming onto me.
Right. Yeah.
And so I called it liquid serpentine.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to the next. And this is morning glory.
Yeah, that was after a hike along the road towards Rainy Falls. And I just sat in the rocks and I was just checking out what's going on around me. It was brilliant, brilliant morning. And this came across, and I called it, especially this one of the first few energetic water that I've seen. And if you look closely to it, people think it's a watercolor.
Yeah.
People think it's, oh, maybe you did oil or pastel. No, it's really, really the water doing
Yeah.
its thing.
So let's bring up one more image, and because we're down to like the last 5 minutes here, and so this is Dante at the Gate.
Yeah, these are my studio work.
Okay.
Of the last, I think, couple of years now, I've been doing a lot of studio work, and this one was actually of just a space in my kitchen, and the light was coming through. And like I said, I don't think of, I don't do any structure when I work. I just compose what I see in color, in shapes, and then it refers to something that I know of.
Right.
And so this one reminds me of Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
And so I do quite a lot of this expressive use of space and light as it moves in space.
Right. Okay. Well, that's we're down to just a couple of 3-4 minutes left, and so now, how does someone that wants to like buy your work? How do they go about doing that? And what's like the general price range of your work?
All right. Well, I have been exhibiting both in Medford at Art du Jour, and also at Gallery 1 at the museum in Grants Pass.
okay.
I have several online with different galleries online. So either that you can contact Gallery 1 at the museum or Art du Jour, or you could contact me directly. My website is lightexpressionist.com. And you could email me also at b@lightexpressionist.com.
Yeah.
Those are the venues of
Okay.
ways, or they could contact you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm more than welcome to refer people to how to get hold of you if anyone contacts me.
Yes.
So now, when you do like your prints, you kind of have a variety of size prints. What's the smallest that you normally do, and the largest that you normally do?
Yeah, I forgot that you asked about price. So it depends on the size and how finished you want it. Either it's framed or unframed.
Right.
So I do abstract pieces like those.
Right.
And those are smaller, and that ranges very inexpensively without the frame. I charge $135 to $175.
okay.
So very accessible.
Yes.
The larger prints and those are anywhere between $400 to $575.
Right, okay.
And that's my price locally.
Right. Yeah.
In London, they sell
Probably a lot more.
in British pounds and euros.
Yeah.
So they go up to about 1,200,
Yeah.
1,500.
Yeah.
So I kind of tailor it
Yeah.
to my audience
Yeah.
and the market.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
peop-
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Bee, we're down to the last minute, and I very much want to thank you for coming on and to talk about your work and your process and your approach to your photography. It's been really a joy having you come on.
Oh, it is a pleasure for me and a joy to always share. And I think it's a gem of a show that you do.
Thank you. Well, that's another one of my shows, Gems of the Road Valley. So I appreciate that very much.
I love it. Thank you so
Alrighty.
much.
Well, we've reached the end of our show, Rogue Artisans and Crafters, and we want to thank you at home for joining us and learning about our featured artist, Bee Bantug. We wish to thank Bee Bantug for agreeing to come on to the show to discuss her life as an artist. And so I'm your host, David Glamour Dave Nienow, and we will see you next time, Road Valley.
Yes.
We wish to thank you for watching Rogue Artisans and Crafters. You can watch this program on demand by visiting rvtv.sou.edu. You can also follow our show on Facebook by visiting and liking our official show page. Just search for Rogue Artisans and Crafters. You can follow me, David Glamour Dave Nienow, online at my YouTube channel and on Facebook. If you like this show and wish to support me in my show productions at RVTV, you can visit my Patreon page at patreon.com/glamourdave. You can watch this show on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. and Thursday evenings at 11:30 p.m. We want to thank our crew who have made it possible to put this program together. Producer and host David Glamour Dave Nienow is winner of the 2018 Southern Oregon Television Awards for Best New Producer and for Best Arts and Culture Show for Rogue Artisans and Crafters.